Her voice was calm when she told me to leave. Not angry, not trembling, just practiced, like she'd rehearsed it. I remember the rain on the glass walls of the conference room, how it slid down in thin, deliberate lines, how everyone outside pretended not to look while she dismantled me piece by piece. "Until further notice, you're suspended," she said. "The board will review the allegations." Allegations. That word hung in the air like a ghost. I didn't ask which ones. I knew they came from him, the intern with the careful smile and cheap cologne, the one she'd started defending in meetings, laughing with in the hallways. When I left the building, I didn't slam the door. I didn't say a word. Silence is more dangerous than rage. It spreads slower, deeper. By the time I reached my car, I'd already stopped feeling. The company was ours, hers technically, but I had built the systems, the clients, the structure. And now I was exiled, stripped of purpose by a whisper. 3 weeks. That's how long it took her to ask if I'd reflected. 3 weeks for the intern to grow comfortable in my chair. 3 weeks for me to decide what reflection really meant. It began with the rumors, subtle, oily things sliding under doors, misappropriated funds, manipulated reports, things that could only come from internal access. He had access. I'd given it to him. She'd called him promising, said he reminded her of me when I was hungry. I should have noticed the way her eyes lingered a second too long when he spoke, the way she defended his mistakes, softened his consequences. But love dulls the edges of reason. The night before she threw me out, she'd come home late, perfume sharp, unfamiliar. I'd asked where she'd been. She smiled too quickly. "Work," she said. I knew it wasn't a lie. Not exactly. It was the kind of truth that hides its teeth. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake beside her, tracing the faint bruise of lipstick near her collarbone, the one she must have missed. I didn't touch it, didn't ask. Instead, I began counting the days. The first was disbelief. The second, quiet calculation. By the third, I'd started remembering details she assumed I'd forgotten. Late meetings, deleted messages, her sudden protectiveness over the intern's reputation. The pattern was there, subtle but precise, like a thread stitched backward through memory. She believed his lies because they made emotional sense. Mine were always logical, tidy, bloodless. He told her what she needed to feel. I told her what she didn't want to know. The investigation was my own, silent, private, surgical. First, I accessed the old server logs before my credentials were revoked. Copies of financial trails, metadata, correspondence. He'd fabricated transactions, sent them from my ID. Sloppy, but effective enough to look authentic to anyone too emotionally invested to question. Then the personal side. Phone records, calendar overlaps, hotel bookings under false names. I didn't look for love, just patterns. Love is too abstract to quantify. Guilt, however, leaves timestamps. 3 weeks passed quietly. I didn't drink, didn't rage, I simply observed. She sent messages sometimes. "Are you ready to talk? You've had time to think." I didn't respond. Reflection, yes, but not the kind she meant. She wanted contrition. I preferred precision. I hired a private auditor, someone discreet. I gave them everything I'd found. Within days, the numbers sang in perfect harmony. Embezzlement, falsified expenses, falsified signatures. His, not mine, and her fingerprints approving every single one. I didn't hate her for it. Not yet. Hate requires passion. I had none left. Only an interest in symmetry. The day she called me in, she sounded gentle, almost nostalgic. "I think we can fix this," she said, "if you've really reflected." Her office looked smaller than I remembered. He sat beside her, hands folded, the performance of humility. I said nothing, just placed the folder on her desk. She frowned. What's this? Proof, I said. Inside, audit results, signed affidavits, timestamps. His falsified data, his forged approvals, her authorizations. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then she opened one page, then another. Her lips parted, eyes flicking between columns, recognizing her own initials in the margins. The intern shifted, pale. This isn't— Don't, I said quietly. He froze. Her voice broke first. You think I knew? I think you wanted to. Silence again. The kind that breaks bones. I stood, slid 2 more envelopes across the desk. White, clean, heavy. One was resignation, the other, divorce. Her hands trembled when she touched them. You're walking away? She whispered. I almost smiled. No, I'm erasing myself. I didn't shout, I didn't accuse, I simply watched her unravel under the weight of her own choices. He tried to speak, but she turned on him instead, words sharp, desperate, meaningless. Every truth she'd ignored came crashing through her face. The manipulation, the flattery, the fabricated evidence she'd believed because it suited her. I could see the exact second realization set in, the hollowing behind her eyes. When she looked back at me, something in her had collapsed. You planned this, she said. Yes. Why? Because you needed to see yourself without me holding the mirror. Her breath hitched. You're cruel. I nodded once. Efficient. And then I left. No backward glance. No final words. Just the sound of her breaking behind me. The sound of truth landing harder than any revenge could. Outside, the air was cold, clean. For the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. Not relief, but a strange stillness where chaos used to live. She would recover, eventually. She'd rebuild the company, maybe even her pride. But she would never again trust the sound of her own certainty. That was my parting gift. Reflection, after all, is not about remorse. It's about clarity. And clarity, once found, doesn't forgive. It deletes. I didn't look back. Not once.